everybody. It's Georgia Weedman, author of Penetration Testing, Hands-On Introduction to Hacking, and your instructor for this accompanying lab. So this time we're going to take a look at local file inclusion, and, it has the name of the software and everything. So you could look it up, but, we kind of saw that in the third-party web application section when doing exploitation. This time we're more looking at, finding it ourselves, if you will. So take a look at our lab. IP header, target's going to be .3. Your lab manual says to use Chrome, but it'll work either way. Alright, so PC chart 2.x. Again, you can Google and exploit database and whatnot and find the vulnerability, but we kind of saw that already when we did third-party web applications. So basically, this is a place that's ripe for local file inclusion. That is breaking out of what we should be able to see, which would be stuff like this, these examples, and being able to see other things that are on the system. So, that's a vulnerability where, we can leave the web application directory and get access to additional parts of the underlying file system, which we certainly in a secure system should not be able to do. But why this would make me think it could be a good possibility for it is because it's showing source code. So it is taking a file, whatever we tell it to, and it's opening that file and showing us the contents of the file. So that seems like a great place to check for local file inclusion, because if there is a local file inclusion vulnerability, I can just, have it magically, because that's what the app does, put out the contents of a file. So let's set up our burp, Foxy Proxy, turn on burp suite, go down to our Dragon, web application analysis and burp suite. I love Foxy Proxy. It sets everything up all nice for us. Yes, whatever. Alright, so, tell it we want one of these. It'll grab it in the proxy. The first get request doesn't seem that interesting. It's just like, okay, get this particular file. Okay. But actually, it's this third one. If we keep forwarding on the request, it does get examples index.php action view script equals example line draw chart. So we want to view, and then that's the file name it's going to view. So I'm going to send this to repeater. Again, repeater will just let us keep making changes to the request and see what the response is. So what I want to do is, again, we're not entirely sure where we are. It's probably, since it's theoretically a Linux, it says no, the user agent is us, never mind. But, we could be anywhere on the file system, but, we're probably var www.html, but, say if I just go back one and look for etc password. So remember that .. is going back a directory. So our goal is to go back to the root of the file system and then move forward and grab etc password, which is where our flag is. We can send it. We look at the results. We just get a 200 OK on it. If we, like I said, we're probably in var www.html. That's typically, where you're at. Not always. Certainly you can be all sorts of other places, but, it's a pretty good guess. So if I do .. // .. So again, that's moving back 3 directories. So if we are in var www.html, that's popping out of HTML, popping out of www, popping out of var. That takes us to root, moving forward to etc password, which is where the username file is. And sure enough, this time we do get in our response our username file, and our username file, because this is a lab, does have our flag in it. So, anytime, especially when source code or the contents of a file are being spit out to the screen like they are here. So, if I did this on the actual app, it would do the same thing. Come back over to our proxy, and change the script here. I mean, it's all well and good to be able to break out of your directory, but if you can't actually see the files, it's not quite as helpful. So certainly anytime it's like throwing up source code is a really good time to take a look and see if you can pop out of your directory and do a local file inclusion. Yeah, sure enough here, if we do it, this is the source code of that file. So we should not be able to see that file. We should only be able to see files that are, in this list or otherwise, in the web application. But, because it has a local file inclusion vulnerability, we are able to see additional files, including, our password file, our username file with the flag in it. So, again, anytime that you're throwing out source code, definitely check for that local file inclusion. Definitely check for to see if you can find anything interesting there, because it's always nice when things will just spit things out to you in the web application. So that's all for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.